dead phone isn't an half.
Welcome back. Carolina Keith, regular Keith, Professor Keith, just Keith. Tuesday, March 24th. I don't have on my headset yet and I can't hear anything. It's a lot of loud music. Hang on. Ooh, welcome back. It's crazy when you can hear yourself in the background of yourself. It's really loud. Tuesday, March 24th. I don't have on my headset yet and I can't hear anything. Bam, there we go. It's crazy when you're hearing a double echo. That's why you put your headset on first. Nonetheless, glad to see everyone here. March 24th. Things are just clicking right on by. We're almost to the end of the first quarter of the year of 2026. Went by super fast. It's time for some charts. You guys saw the thumbnail. Without wasting a bunch of time, let's get into it. Welcome to Charts After Dark. If you haven't done so, please go hit the like button. It costs nothing. While you're there, subscribe. Less than half of you subscribe to this. And if you subscribed and hit the like button, we'd be seeing a lot more people come in. A lot more people will be able to follow along with what's happening. A lot less people would miss what's going on and be ahead of the curve. While you're there, hit the notification bell. What's up, crew chief? Good to see you, brother. What's up, Jeremy? Good to see you. What's up, B. Henry over on Rumble? Good to see you, my guy. Shout out to everybody watching over on X. I appreciate everybody coming through. So let's jump right on into it. I wish there was a ton of great stuff to report, and things have gotten a little bit better and things are a little bit up and down. I don't want to do a whole bunch of altcoins like I did last time on Tuesday, because I think that's just a little bit silly to do, and I think it's bad timing. For the most part, I think we're still riding out a bit of a bear market here throughout the rest of 2026. My voice sounds weird. Hold on a second. Maybe that's a little better. That's a little bit better. Anyway, we're riding out 2026 here. We'll see what happens throughout the rest of the first half of the year. Again, I think we've got some more down in here somewhere, but I also think we have some up somewhere. And it'll be short-lived, yes, but still, that doesn't mean there won't be some up in here to at least give us some bearish back tests, some higher time frame stuff, which we'll go over in a minute. We'll talk about gold and metals. Make sure we talk about oil, WTI crude oil. Everybody's all up in arms about this, that, and the other. Everybody's got to have something to be upset about, or got to have something to be in their feelings about, or got to have something to complain to politicians about. That's the way this works. So we'll go through all that stuff. So I'll start with the thumbnail, which was Bitcoin's daily chart and what I saw happening throughout the day here. I was watching this off and on throughout the day. Yesterday, Bitcoin had a great recovery day. We come on the live stream on Thursday, and I said, hey, man, it's a bit spooky. And sure enough, we got that down over the weekend that I thought may come through. And then what do we happen on Monday? We shoot right back over the 50 moving average and the 821 EMA right at about 7 a.m. Before the markets open. People will love to blame a politician. But what's interesting is this would have happened with or without a politician eventually anyway. Doesn't matter. It's just what we like to call the catalyst that stirs the drink. The drink was already going to be served and poured regardless. And once the sooner you catch up with that and start thinking about that rather than thinking about all the other stuff, the easier all this becomes for you. It's hard to swallow the pill of, well, that doesn't matter. But eventually you get to that point where you go, that doesn't matter. I've been at that point for a long time now. I gave up on chasing news or playing the blame game a long time ago. And I just stick to charts now. So I get frustrated from time to time like anybody else. But no matter what, charts are always there for me to come back to and be objective with and look through without having all the feelings involved. So, great day yesterday, Monday. It was awesome. Tuesday comes along, immediately throws a pretty gnarly candle back down to the 50 daily moving average. And I'll zoom in here so you can see a little closer. Boy, that's real close, isn't it? That's real close. Damn. So you got really, really hardcore red earlier on in the day with that white arrow that I drew right there. That's not very arrowy, but it's still an arrow. Wick down to the 50-day moving average. I like that. That's not a terrible thing. It's just spooky to watch in real time, especially after the day that you had on Monday. This wick on the bottom of this candle coming off that moving average, 50-day moving average and managing to close above the 821 EMA indicates buy pressure. And while, yes, it did close a red candle, it had buy pressure on the bottom of it after a good solid green candle. Now, many terminologies for this candle. I'm going to call this a bit of a spinner. And why do I call it that? Well, you can call it a spinning top, or you could call it many other things, or you could call it a tweezer, whatever you want. I call it a spinner because it doesn't give you a direction just yet, but it does show positive signs without giving you a yes. You want a candle closed outside of the previous candle, and it didn't happen. This candle closed inside of this green candle. You'd like it to close above it, and didn't do that yet. So it's a bit of a continuation, a spinner. Spin the top and see where it lands, right? We're still over the 821 EMA, which I find encouraging. We're still over the 50-day moving average, which I find encouraging. We scroll out a bit here. Here's the kicker. Here's the weekly chart, and it's just tagging the weekly AEMA after getting over and failing on Sunday. It's tough, right? It's a tough pill to swallow. So far, this is nothing more than a bearish back test. It sucks to hear. And while we do have a daily candle showing some good volume, and while we did have a red candle come in that had buy pressure on the back side of it, you're still stuck on the high time frame underneath some resistance here. You haven't gotten over that threshold yet to be in the green line, right? You're still stuck under. And to that point, even if you get over, you have problems right up here because that's the bearish back test line that I think eventually happens. I think eventually we come up here toward that 77,000, toward that trend line, and we bearish back test and we roll back down at some point. It just hasn't happened yet. It may end up being all the way till June before we get something like that, but that would kind of ruin the 77,000 theory for me. I still think that happens because it's still in play because we haven't closed a new low down there underneath about 66 or 65,500, 66,000. Closing under that, closing down there underneath that 66,000 level, well, that opens up a new low. And with a new low, you're going to likely test the next support level, which is down here at the weekly 200 moving average, which is at about 59,267 at the moment. You can see it right over here on the right. All right, right over there. That shows you what the price is. That's at 59,267. Not great. 60,000 seems a little bit imminent as long as it continues to get beaten down here by the AEMA. And you can see the weekly 21 moving average slowly working its way toward that same level that I do expect a bearish back test of. Just hasn't happened yet. So, in conclusion, yes, this is a decent looking candle here, and it's a decent looking setup. It could be much worse. This could have closed under the 821 and got pinched in between the 821 and the 50. It didn't do that. It could have closed under the 50 moving average entirely, which would have been a bearish engulfing, would have almost certainly been more bearish. It didn't do that. A little bit better. That's a good thing. Problem has been maintaining this stuff. It refuses to want to maintain. Every time we get a little bit of a surge, we get a big pullback, and it's like it just gets the reins yanked on it. Kind of like a dog who's just running wild, and you have the leash, and all of a sudden it starts pulling itself real hard by the collar. It's similar to this, right? You get these runs up, big run up, and then snap, we pull back down. Big run up, snap, pull back down. It happens over and over and over again, rather rhythmically. It's annoying for it to happen. It is what it is. We have to deal with it and keep going. Nothing's changed with it just yet. I'm happy to report when it does. I like the volume that we had back here, but now we've sort of erased all of it. Stick over this 821, see what we get through Thursday with this, and things could change absolutely for the positive. I'm here for it if it does, but you know, baby steps. We're not quite there yet. I am certainly posting this report for XRP. I haven't posted one of these on X or made a secondary video of it, and I've been meaning to, but I keep swinging and missing on that one. I record them and don't repost them because I don't know. I just forget sometimes. I get 1,000 things going on over here. So anyway, we're still over the 50 moving average after that green candle that came up on Monday. Right, we got all that surge up. We're still over that 50 moving average, but like I just said with Bitcoin, we could be getting pinched. It's getting pinched on XRP. You're getting pinched by the 821 EMA moving down, and the 50 moving average slowly sweeping over, right? You're right in that pinch zone. Not good enough for me. Not to mention, if we scroll out a bit here and we drop these moving averages off, this is the daily chart, by the way. You can look at this chart once or twice per day and make every decision you kind of need to make in general. Should it be buying or should it be selling? Based on a couple 5-minute spans throughout your day. And that's it. You don't need to spend a ton more time on this. I say this all the time. Chart learning is not that complicated. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of effort. And it's amazing that people will put so much effort into watching the news and listening to hopium channels on YouTube, but they will put very little effort into taking the power into their own hands, which is what I've been begging the XRP community to do since day one of this channel. And I've caught so much flack for it, and they'll never be friendly with me because of that. You know what I mean? It's very rare that I find friendly XRP people. Most of them are just very, very bitter and very, very angry. That sucks. I don't want it to be that way. You don't have to be that way, fellas, ladies, whoever you are. I don't like that we failed this trend line, and I don't like that we fell on the back side of it here, because that so far is a bearish back test. This, to me, looks more like we're going to come back down here to these lows and give these lows a try. Now, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping we get back up over the trend line there and keep moving forward, but we haven't yet. It gets very spooky when you see a bearish back test like that. And here's the Ichimoku cloud. Ichimoku cloud as well. You do have a green cloud on the end. That's good. And your conversion line is over your baseline. That's good. But the problem is you're stuck in the cloud. That's not good enough. You are lag line over candles. You got 3 out of 4, what you need here. But it's a long way to get over top of this cloud. Problems need solutions, and we just don't have one here yet for this. As far as your pivot point goes, you are over the pivot. So there's, thinking about this, a good amount of stuff here that could be bullish for us, but we need to prove it. Your MACD and your RSI really aren't much help here. They're just oscillators. Bollinger Bands, they got very tight. Remember when I was talking about this on stream, I said when these Bollinger Bands get tight, you're going to get price volatility, and that's exactly what we got. We got volatility, and it actually ended up being to the upside, which was great. So I'm going to say this again. I want you to keep a track on these Bollinger Bands. As this price goes sideways and continues to move this way, the longer it does, the more opportunity that gives for these Bollinger Bands to start to squeeze in like you saw back here. And when that squeeze happens, you get the volatility, then we'll see how far we go. But you can see that they're wider right now, and it's going to take a minute for that thing to consolidate down and pinch it in a little bit and get us some of that volatility that we seek. Here's the weekly. Not a ton of help here. If you look at your 821 EMA, you're still stuck under the 8 just like you are with Bitcoin, and your 200 moving average is still floating around down here like 113 to 112. And on the daily chart, you don't really have anything down there to catch it. So monthly wise, that's also where the monthly 50 moving average is. So in my opinion, there's a pretty good chance, if I remove these trend lines, it's a little easier to see. There's a pretty good chance we retest this monthly 50 moving average at some point in the not too distant future. Now, that may be the bottom, may not be. I want you to make that decision for yourself. Look at these charts, learn these charts, work these charts, and you'll be amazed what happens. If I can do this stuff and I can look at it and say, I think this is happening, and I can be objective about it, why can't you? Why do you have to have the motions? And the truth is because you don't want to let it go because it feels good. And the honest truth is you can't use feelings in investments. You got to let it go and stick to the facts. That's the facts the way I see them. Hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, so that's XRP and Bitcoin. Let's go to some more conventional stuff now. We get that crypto stuff out the way. And now we can dabble and look around here through the S&P 500, which the other day had a pretty brutal close. All right, so here was your Thursday close. Oh man, was it ugly. And then Friday came. Oh yeah, hang it loose. Big close on, I'm sorry, this was your Thursday close. Friday came, big close down, woof. We were worried about this happening, and I said we were going to get that bearish back test. And then Monday, your bearish back test comes in. Test the 200 moving average, test the 8 EMA at the same time. Double bearish back test. Then you open up this morning lower, and you do close green, but you're still lower than you were before. To me, this is just easy pickings, a bearish back test setup for this thing to roll over there, catch that trend line, catch that 200 moving average, catch the bottom of resistance one more time before you get one more stab down here and really, really pull the blood out of the pig. That's going to have to happen one more time, I think. As bad as that sucks, is what it is. And for what it's worth, everything's going to bleed because of that. And I say everything, 90% of everything, not everything. Some stuff will be counterintuitive. You know, you can try to guess which ones they'll be. Go ahead. I try not to go against the major trends. And when the major trends are going down, I should probably be a little bit more careful. When the major trends are going up, well, you could probably hang a little looser. And right now, we can't really do that. With all this sell pressure and all this push down, this lends me back toward this stuff doing the bearish back test. And NASDAQ's going to be the same way. Got almost the exact same look. You were over support. You have failed that. Now it is resistance. And now that it's resistance and you're pushed right up against the 200 moving average and the 821 EMA, this looks bearish to me. This looks like that's going to roll over and catch a wave back down and get really, really, really punched in the face. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that's what I see. So short term, you might have some sideways and up here, but in my opinion, maybe toward the end of the week and starting next week, we may see this thing get really hairy and start to dig in. The new month may be ugly. Dow Jones, same setup. A little better. It's a little tighter against the trend here. That doesn't mean too much until it breaks it. We need this breakout to happen. And for that to get on the good side of that trend line, it just hasn't done so yet. You're still pinned down by sell pressure. Again, catching that and going back down toward here makes the most sense. A breakout above this, getting over the 200 moving average would be fabuloso. That would change everything. As you can see, doesn't look like that's what's happening yet. Here's the Russell 2000. So top 2,000 assets. This is an ETF through iShares. You can buy this on Robinhood and some other places. You're over the AEMA here after bouncing the 200, but I'm going to warn you the other stuff did this same thing. Bounced the 200 at first before it failed it and then got bearish back test and really worked south. That hasn't happened yet. So as long as you stay above the AEMA and above this 200 moving average, you can continue trying to fight back up here. Maybe a feeble attempt. I hate to go against the big trends and pick the Russell when everything else is going down. To me, that lends the wrong strategy. I think we're going to roll over and go back down here. For now, you're up, and I like it, and that's good, but I need to prove it. I need you to start breaking loose here. It just hasn't done so yet. QQQ Invesco. It's a big trust fund. You guys probably have it in your 401ks. You just don't even know. It's very, very popular. And a lot of people have it. Since a lot of people have it, it's got very, very high volume. But 821 EMA rolled over. You're under the 200 just like the others. There's really not a whole lot of difference here. That looks more like consolidation and sideways down to me in through April. It might get ugly. Semiconductors, Van Eck, SMH. You tried pretty rough here. Hang out to the 100. Better than most. You remember a second ago I said everything was on the 200. The 200 way down here at 339 for semiconductors. They're trying to hang on. You got a short-term trend there. You have a short-term trend here. This thing's sort of boiling, figuring out what it wants to do. If you can break that 821 EMA tomorrow, close, and then Thursday, challenge that 50 moving average, we may have something cooking there. It's still going to be a lower high, right? Even if it closes up there, you got to get above this high to really move the needle. So you need to close up there somewhere to be like, hey, now we're cooking. That doesn't mean we won't get a good look down here. We still have just one over the 8 EMA for now. You need another close over the 8, and then you need an 821 cross, and you need to be over the 50. And it's really suspect that all this stuff's kind of piled up right there. I think that may end up pressing us down, but I'm hopeful that it doesn't. Apple. So Apple gave it an A for effort. She got over the trend line here and jumped onto the good side of the trend line. Tried to get through the 8 EMA, didn't. Rejected here. I'd like to see it try to push toward that 50 moving average. One more try. It's still well under the trend line, but you did jump this trend line, which again I find interesting. Closed its CME gap. It made a big gap when it opened here, and then ran up and then came back down and closed. So it's closed that gap. That's a good thing. That lends to more bullish than bearish. Prove it to me. Get over the 8. Show me you got the power. Tesla. Tesla's had a rough go of it. Same as the others, same as the indices. You're under the 821 and 200 moving average. I don't see a whole lot of positive there. It looks more like a bearish back test coming again. And since that's the case, it ain't worth the pot it's pissing in. Get over something and prove it. You haven't done it yet. Microsoft. Oh, man. Oh, man. Brutal closings for Microsoft here. Microsoft at the moment is down 33% from the high. And on the year, Microsoft is down. Let's get a good measurement here. I'm tired, fellas. On the year, Microsoft is down 23% on the year. A quarter of their share stock price, a quarter of their market cap has evaporated. That's tough. We hadn't used this one in a while, but let's hit them with this. Wasted. It's rough for Microsoft out there. New lows. So you've had a step down here. Right here you had your first low, and then a lower 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 low. That's a lot of lower lows. And to match that, you had your high up here, and then you had a lower high, and a lower high, and a lower high. So you have your lower lows and your lower highs matching. That means you have a downtrend. That means wait till we see an uptrend to prove it. You can actually try to catch the perfect bottom if you'd like, but I think that's risky. That being said, we are pushing into the weekly 200 moving average here, which is interesting. Can we get through that? It wants to try to push through it now, or are we going to reclaim that and bounce back? I would assume there's probably a catch down here somewhere. It might end up going all the way back to 350 before it turns the corner. That's a massive discount. That's going to be way big discounted from 550 to 350. My goodness. And again, what's your risk tolerance there? Do you think Microsoft will have a rebound? Because if you do, you're getting a screaming deal from the top. A screaming deal from the top. When's the last time Microsoft was on a 35% rebate? It's been a minute, in case you guys didn't know. We can do let's do gold. Bow. So we've been monitoring gold very closely. Big stab up to 6,000 or almost 6,000 was great, 5,600. But since then, you've created a lot of lower highs, and you're working on another lower high right now. And you've made a lot of short-term lows. So this was a higher low. That was your first low, second low, higher low, higher low. This is your first lower low. It hasn't done this in a while. Now, form a lower high here, and we can talk about running back down here to that 4,000 level. We haven't done that in a while either. We made that one stab, one leap at it the other day. But what happened? It bounced off that 200 moving average in a very, very positive way. That's the same buy pressure that I was talking about on Bitcoin, right? The difference is you started a little mini downtrend here where Bitcoin's trying to start an uptrend. It's slightly different. You are pinned under the 100-day moving average and the 8 EMA at the same time. Those are both in the way, going to create a little bit of a log jam. If it gets over that, it's got to deal with more of it. 21 EMA and then 50 moving average, also creating a bit of a log jam. Good that it's bounced back from 4,900 to 4,600, $500 an ounce. That's pretty good. But I don't think it's finished. I don't think the bounce was enough. You've only ran back to resistance. You need to have a big smacking bounce that comes up and maintains a new high to really prove it to me. And I really need you to get over this trend line over here before I'm like, hey, now she's killing it. Hasn't done that. I got my eyes on it. I'd like to see it break out. I know a lot of people have gold, and a lot of people moved into gold when it got up there at the super highs because that's the way it works. I'm hoping that price comes back up there eventually for you. Silver. So silver, similar story to gold, pressed up on the exact same moving average, pressed against the short-term trend line, The longer term trend line's still way over there. She hasn't gotten there yet. It did try to bounce support like I talked about. It never hit the daily 200 moving average. I think it still may do that if it can't get over that 100. It may take some time, but I think it will get there eventually. Baby steps. Consolidation to the right was needed after the generational run up that these things had, and I think that's what's in for. Platinum, a little bit of a precursor and a little bit of a slower to the top and slower to the bottom, but a little ahead of gold and silver. So didn't quite get to the 100 moving average, and the 8 EMA is already under it from that point. Double downtrend, you're underneath both of them. Your moving averages are all leaning to the right, except the 200 moving average, which it did tag. I think this is another road to contention for more of this slow rollover sideways and to the right. It just makes the most sense to me. All right. And then if it breaks out, that's completely different, but it hasn't broken out yet. Just the way I see metals. All right. WTI crude, which is the almighty oil. All right. So how do you know something is going to slow down? How do you know something is going to turn around and go the other way? Well, the name of our channel is TA with Keith Lay. But what's the name of the business? The 786 Assassins. This level right here in red, between 786 and 886, is what we call Sniper's Alley. When a price ventures into Sniper's Alley too quickly, pow, you get the wasted audio. That's exactly what happened here. She tried to creep up a little too quickly, tried to go through a little bit too fast, and immediately got its shit stuffed back in its face by Sniper's Alley. Now, since then, not only has it rejected Sniper's Alley, but this level here between 618 and 71 is what we call the golden pocket. It did nothing but ride to the top of the golden pocket and reject. So far, the big bullish move that you've got has been rejected with a lot of sell pressure. More sell pressure is likely to come in the short-term future. You do have an 821 EMA pinch going right here. You failed underneath the 8 EMA 2 closes. That would knock off 1/3 of your buys. The next one would be under the 21 EMA. That would be 2/3 of your buys. And failing the 50 would be all of them. Now me, when I have this aggressive of an uptrend, I'm going 50-50 with my buys and sells. I'm getting out with the 8 and the 21 EMA, and I'm going to leave the 50 be. But it's so far from the 50 moving average, I think that's a little bit silly to talk about just yet. Failing the 21 EMA needs to come first. If we step it back on weekly here, you'll kind of see what I mean. Big spinning top right here on this candle, or a spinner like I called it before. Then you got nothing after that, another continuation. You didn't close above or below, but this is definitely going to close below this week. And now you're working on this big monster candle that it threw up during the generational run that it was making, just like oil, just like silver and gold did. Big push up. Well, guess what? We're going to get that big push down too. That's the weekly 50 moving on, the 50 fib there, which is our continuation fib. Stay above this, and we could roll back up, back down, bounce here, and consolidate and take another rip at it. And that's something that very well could happen. World's in a very precarious place right now, you know? We're in between. Are we in a war or are we not in a war? We're in between. Are they bombing this country or is this country bombing that country? Everybody's in a bit of a power grab. This is the way the world's been working for a really, really long time. I don't want anybody to think this is abnormal or different than what we've had in the past since I've been alive. But then before that, another entire multiple generations of the exact same thing. Nothing's going to ever change. So why stress on the things we can't do anything about? I say this constantly. Don't worry about the things you're not in control of. Control what you have. Control the chart. Control your money. Take it into your own hands and make better decisions than you did the day before. I appreciate everybody coming in here and hanging out. That's badass of you. I only did 30 minutes. You guys see me yawning. I like to do an hour, but some of these charts are so dicey. It's really not worth delving a ton of time into right now. I still think we're sideways and down for most of crypto. It looks like most of TradeFi is going to be the same. If that's the case, I do expect oil to slow down at least until summer here. We're only in the spring now. We're only at the end of Q1. More time to come. after all that move up, I do think there's some slowdowns in here for it. You will get some relief at the pump. It was going to happen with or without a war. I thank all of you for being here. Y'all are awesome. Every single time I come on here and say that, I mean it. I appreciate every single one of y'all. I'll see y'all back here next time on Thursday, 10 p.m. We'll have a Zoom after for the peeps. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be good, man. See y'all next time. I'm out. Sky's the limit. Peace.